ミャネか？どうしたミャネ？
Let's do this.
The core of Armored Core.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Defeationist today. We are diving into the world of mech warfare in Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, a title that has been eagerly anticipated by fans of the series. But does it live up to the legacy of its predecessors? Let's find out. Also, Darkwave is here.
When you talk about good games this year, there are a lot of them. Some from Hogwarts Legacy to Spider-Man. But one of them games is Armored Core Fires of Rubicon. Today, this is a collaboration Defeationist episode. Today, I, Darkwave, will be giving you my review of the story and the challenges of the game. So with that said, let's jump right into it. Once again, From Software proves that they do not miss, at least in these current, and these last, I would say, over 10 years. They haven't missed. Maybe Dark Souls 2 was a miss, but overall, they don't miss. And Armored Core 6 is another one of their hits that is just absolutely fantastic in every sense of the word. I'm covering the story and the challenges, and where I'm going to start first is the challenges, because the story, it's a bit much. We'll get to it, but the challenges. You'll hear all over the world that Armored Core is too difficult. Oh, it's too challenging. Why this? Why that? Oh, From Software again with their non-toggleable difficulty. And that's just the thing. You know, From Software has a thing of giving options in a lot of the games and how you tackle them. And that's what a lot of gamers don't really see, is that while their games are challenging, there are many different ways to make it less challenging or easier, as you say. You just gotta really know what the hell you're doing, or try different things. And trying different things is the core, no pun intended, of Armored Core. You know, can you beat the game with an agility suit? Yes, I'm sure you can, but the challenges, the bosses, the enemy variety, and by enemy variety, I mean the different type of mechs. It's mostly mechs, but the different types of mechs, mainly in the boss category. The enemies, the little enemies you face are pretty much nothing. It's more of the mini bosses and the bosses that's going to drive you. So, with the amount that you have in this game, I think that it is quite challenging, but they give you opportunities to try different suits, and they make you want to try different suits based off that. And I think that's the point that a lot of people miss with this game. I love it. I think the challenge is a easy, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, because it forces you to try different suits. You don't want to just use maybe an agility suit all the time. Sometimes you're going to want to go with a heavier, bulky suit, because the boss you're facing is not beneficial to use an agility suit. Can you use an agility suit? Absolutely. But I think a game like this, where you have multiple different weapons or multiple different suits you can make, or builds I think games that encourage you to try different builds or to try different ways of beating said boss or said enemy will always be better than just those that are just straight through. You know, they give you really no intrigue. And while you can do the Souls games offer a slightly different challenge. Well, I did a dex build my first playthrough. Let me see how different this build is to this boss. And it does change. And the same happens here. In Armored Core, an agility player, the way you fight as an agility suit is completely different. How you're gonna fight with a double Gatling gun suit. It's completely different. And I like that atmosphere, and I like that about the game. I think that the replayability of the challenges are very good. You know, whether it's killing a suit in a certain amount of time, getting the S ranks in each mission to platinum the game, even trying different suits to challenge yourself. You know you blew through this one fight with this tank suit with the giant rockets on, or the Zimmerman shotguns that's probably been nerfed to shit. I know they got nerfed, I just haven't played the game since. But you know, using all these weapons that you blew through it. How can you do it with an agility suit? Is it possible? Can you do it with an agility suit? It's just certain things. There's a boss in the game that I coined as Millennia because of this two-faced bullshit that it has. And being challenged with that fight is a very good feeling, is a very good challenge. So I think the challenges for the game, it's very good, it's very rewarding. If there's one word I can say about the challenge of the game, it's rewarding. You feel, when you beat a boss in this game, you feel like you accomplished something, especially if you was grinding through trying different suits and you finally found the build that got you through the boss. And then once you know the boss attacks and all the mechanics, maybe then you can take an agility suit and try to challenge yourself even more with it. And for me, I think that is probably one of the, if not the biggest strength of Armored Core 6, is the fact that they take it and they encourage you, not force you, but encourage you to try other builds and try making new suits so you can actually enjoy all that it has to offer. You know, because similar to a Souls game, you know, you're going to want to maybe try Magic. You didn't spec into Magic this playthrough. Maybe your next playthrough, New Game Plus, or completely new playthrough, you're going to spec in Magic and try it, and it will change the game dramatically. And I think that is what From Software does well. And I think that's what Armored Core does well. On to the story. Now, From Software tells excellent stories. Their stories are usually middled in codex or books on the ground or item descriptions and stuff of that nature. And a lot of the story is really told through, in this game, not really, there's codex and stuff of that nature. And that's where you find a lot of the backstory, but there is told through, technically, replayability. You know, you will not get the full scope of the story in one playthrough. It's impossible because they don't tell you the full story in one playthrough. Each playthrough dives you deeper into the story. It dives deeper. It's not like a Souls game where if you just explore enough and find everything, the story originally doesn't change. The only thing that changes in the Soul game is the ending. But this story evolves. It's as if it's like they tease you with crumbs and they give you more food as you play through the game. And I like that feeling because it actually encourages you to do New Game Plus, where some games don't encourage you to do New Game Plus because really all it is just you being overpowered and pretty much rampaging through the game if that's the type of game that you're playing. But this one is different. You know, the enemies don't get stronger per se. They don't give you this like, oh, now they're just stronger. No, they give you different bosses with different stories, different outcomes, and they're not like optional. They tell you a story, and even if you choose different paths, it really just mainly goes to the ending. But the story is all connected, if you get what I'm saying. So if you take Route B, it may change your ending that you get, which you can decide which canonical ending, but the story paths are basically all the same. If you get it, you can kind of get what the story is, and I like that. You know, in typical From Software fashion, you start pretty much as a nobody. You're just some guy. This is spoilers, by the way, so in case you don't want to know, but you start as a guy, 621. That's your code name. That's it. That's who you are. You're just a guy in a suit. And the story starts off quite slow at first. It's kind of like, okay, you just go out there, do your job, until you get to a mission where you meet the Coral, basically, and you get this, you know, you basically get a Cortana with you. For those who know Halo, you get a Cortana with an AI companion with you, and she basically makes you from nobody to someone that kind of matters to a certain extent. And you build your relationship with her and your unit, and you know, your first playthrough is a very simple one. It's not as deep, you know, it's very concise, it's very straight to the point in your first playthrough. I'm not going to give everything away here, but as you get to the New Game Plus 1, it opens up. You learn more about her, you learn more about what is going on. Your character is pretty much irrelevant. Once again, From Software makes your character completely irrelevant. You're just a vehicle that has the plot in his hand. But you have the person that's important. You're just moving them around, basically, is what you are in this game. But you learn more about your employer and the other employers, and also the other characters through reading about their mechs, reading the codex and the files and all that shit. You learn about them, and they open up more through different paths. You learn what they do. You learn what they stand for. Even if you go against them, you still learn what they stand for. So it all, while is there a canon route? Probably so, but by going the beat it path, you still learn about what that character is all about. And I like that, because it all matters in the end. So your first New Game Plus run, it opens up. You learn a little bit more, but you're not quite there yet. You unlock a new ending and all this other stuff. New Game Plus 2, once again, it opens up. The story, once you get to the point past, you know, when you meet, I cannot remember her name, but once you meet your Cortana, as you will, after you meet her, it really branches off. You learn so much more about Rubicon. You learn more about the Coral. You learn more about the characters. And that's pretty much the crux of the story. Is it the greatest story of all time? No. And a lot of people may not even get to see all that because they'll probably beat the game and be done with it. So it is a detriment because it does require you to play New Game Plus. There are other things that enhances when you do play New Game Plus. There's other builds and parts, but a lot of times people won't even know that that's a thing, you know, in New Game Plus. So that is maybe a detriment for some people. But ultimately, I think that if you're wondering if this is like more, if this story is like Souls, where it's a lot convoluted, I think it's an easier story to tell than Souls, because Souls storylines are more muddled in what you discover on the map or in the area, and then you actually got to read the item descriptions and all that. I think this one is told a little bit more straightforward to you. Similar to Sekiro a little bit, you know. It's more straightforward. The only issue is you do have to do New Game Plus to actually get to where you are. And if you are a person that appreciates your character being the driving focus of that, you're just a pilot. You know, you're just a pilot. You're just a guy. It's everything else around you. So if you appreciate that, I think you'll like it. I think it's a good story. It's not going to blow your mind away. It's not going to be revolutionary by any means. I think it's solid. I think it's good. And ultimately, I think that is... I will give the story about a solid 7. I think a 7 is good. You know, I can't really go higher because, again, of the blockage of New Game Plus. Because, you know, if you're someone, again, if you beat the game and you just like, I'm done, and you don't go through New Game Plus, you won't get the full story, and maybe you don't want to go through the game again. You know, maybe it was a struggle for you, and you just like you're done and over with, and that's perfectly fine. But I do recommend playing New Game Plus, you know, because of the story is actually really good. You learn more about the characters, and it's a little bit different. Like I say, it's more told to you than from the Souls games like Elden Ring and Dark Souls, etc., etc. So I love it, the game overall. But you know, my part is about the challenges and the story. I think the challenges is what makes this game really good. The fact that it makes you think, it pushes you forward to try different things. You don't want to, it doesn't make you complacent. Is there a so-called OP builds? Yeah, of course there are, and you can just sit there and probably mow through the whole game. But it does encourage you to do other builds with the bosses they give you, and I think that's a very good thing. I think it's a very big plus. So that's my part of this Defeationist episode. Again, I'll say the story again. I'm going to give the challenges of the game. You know what? The challenges to me are easy 10 out of 10. Not necessarily because of difficulty per se, but again because of the encouragement they give you to try something. In the story, I'm going to give it a 7. I think it's good, but I think blocking behind New Game Plus and all that can deter people. And again, it's not some mind-blowing story, but it is very good. And that's my part of the Armored Core 6 Defeationist episode, and I'll catch you guys later on next. Peace.
The core of Armored Core, see what I did there, has always been its intricate mech customization, and Armored Core 6 doesn't disappoint in that department. The sheer range of parts and modifications available for your mech is staggering, allowing for incredible diversity in playstyles. The multiplayer aspect is also where the game shines. Engaging in mech-to-mech combat against other players adds a layer of challenge and excitement that can extend the game for a long time, especially for enthusiasts. That being said, the mech combat here is where it shines above its predecessors. It does have a mix of things from the past and some things that should be moved to the future, especially when it comes to equipping your mech with such blades that could, be used as a whip, be used as a knife, and a power driver, or the fact that you can switch your weapons on the fly and switch to a close range build, or stick to just very far range, or just, have 4 shotguns on your body at all times just to destroy the game. Hint, hint for everybody who has not beaten the game yet. The game also is very hard, so it also tests your ability to adapt on the fly, or your ability to use your mech to its full potential before you can actually get far in the game. I hope you all are prepared and you actually got good. Have fun. The missions in Armored Core 6 offer a mix of objectives and environments, from urban battlegrounds to sprawling landscapes. Each mission feels unique, but some players might find the lack of narrative depth or variety in objectives a bit underwhelming. Graphically, Armored Core 6 showcases improvements in details and effects compared to its predecessors. However, it doesn't push the envelope in terms of next-gen visuals, which might leave some players expecting more. But there are some areas that actually does look really, really good, like it's really a next-gen type of game. There are some areas that look just plain bland and normal. And when it comes to the music and soundtrack of this game, the music is actually very, very great. It also offers some of the great alternatives from the past, but remixed in its own new way. I definitely expect people to be downloading and listening to the soundtrack like they did with For Answer, which actually was really great. In conclusion, Armored Core 6 offers a solid experience for fans of mech combat and customization. While it doesn't revolutionize the series, it stays true to its roots, delivering the thrill of piloting powerful mechs, and it is a must-play for people who is a fan of Armored Core 6 and mech games in general. But it might not fully satisfy those seeking groundbreaking innovation, and I would recommend this game for fans of previous Armored Cores, considering they add some of the features from previous Armored Cores. And the one thing I can say is, why didn't they add co-op to this game? But that is neither here nor there. Like I said, the gameplay is fun, the endings is fun, even getting the endings is fun. But there's one fatal flaw for this game, and that is the fact that it's not crossplay, so I can't play with somebody on a completely different console. But that's just me.
The core of Armored Core needs to be purchased.